I'm Steve Zelnak. I'm chairman of Martin Marietta Materials, and I'm also chairman of ZP Enterprises, which is a company that invests in small businesses. Well, the biggest issue at this point in time is simply the abysmal economy and the lack of demand. The business that we run, that I did run, has seen volume decline 40% since the peak. And I don't care how well you manage, when volume declines 40%, you're going to wind up laying people off. You simply cannot afford to support the workforce that was there before. So improvement in the general economy is a key issue. And there's been a lot of focus on things throughout the economy, but not nearly as much focus on infrastructure as I think there needs to be. Housing, those are two huge drivers of the economy, and both of those are in a deep, deep slump. And unemployment in the construction sector is about 20%. So it's critical to find some ways to energize those sectors. Well, unfortunately, the EPA has become the fourth branch of government. I look back in time 40 years or so ago, and I lived in two steel mill towns. That's where I got introduced to red air and black snow. And I'll tell you, the EPA was much needed. What it has done over that period of time has been pretty remarkable in cleaning up America. 90% plus improvement in air and water quality. Then we evolved to today, and what we have is an organization that spends its time putting out regulations that are truly burdensome and really don't add a lot of value. And I'll give you an example. In a small business that we just bought, we expanded the facility by 50%. Very straightforward, existing location, all good things from an environmental standpoint. We wound up spending 3 extra months, took longer to permit it and do the environmental than it did to build it. And we wound up spending $60,000 on some things that did not improve the site, did not improve the environmental quality. We didn't save any snail darters, and at the end of that, that's $60,000 that we couldn't use to hire another machinist. The unions have created an uncompetitive cost structure. If you look at where unions are concentrated today, they're concentrated in the municipal sector. The municipal sector is supported by taxes. So where you have that high uncompetitive cost, you're going to have a high tax rate to support it. If you compare wages in the municipal area with wages in the private sector, you're going to find that the public sector pays much better. Has much better retirement benefits, has better medical benefits, and when you reduce the actual compensation to hours worked, you're going to find for comparable jobs that the public sector pays better on an hours worked basis. So when businesses look at each area, they're going to analyze the tax structure. They're going to take this into account, and they're going to analyze the trends in the tax structure and take a look at what's been going on, and they're going to make choices accordingly. If it's a high-cost area, high-tax area, they're going to choose to go somewhere else, be it in the United States or offshore. Well, it is access to capital, and in times gone by, the banks would supply that capital for working capital loans and equipment. It's not happening today. The government actually has an agency and programs out there that could be very helpful, but it acts like government. It's too slow, it's too cumbersome, too much paperwork, it's very discouraging. In fact, a business could go broke before it could get the loan. I think there's another way to go at it, which would be to use the financial firepower that the SBA has to potentially back up loans that the banks would make, but not to have the SBA back up all of it, have the banks have a piece of the responsibility too, because they'd be making the loan and selecting which small business people it would go to. I think you could speed things up. I think you could put money in the hands of the right small business people. You could energize small business that way.